All right, we are live. We're live. Awesome. I'm excited for tonight, guys. Over 125 people signed up for this. I'm super excited to see who's on the call. And I want to. I'm Susan Kennedy, by the way, and welcome to the truth about why your relationship, your marriage is falling apart. There's a chat box on the right, and if you can see that, and just say hi. Tell me you're here, because I can't really see who you are. And let's see. Yeah, with the chat box there. So anyway, I'm coming on now, and I'm about to start a slide presentation to further the training. But I'm gonna tell you my story up front, and then I'm gonna give you 3 keys that really helped me turn my relationship around. So the story I'm gonna tell you is really what's in the Facebook post you probably saw, how I went from the brink of divorce at age 52 to a thriving marriage. And without therapy, dance lessons, or couples retreats, we tried a lot of things. I bet you're here too because you've tried a lot of things and you can't figure it out. If you have a pen and paper handy, great. We're going to be here probably an hour, a little over an hour, depending on how many questions we have. Let me see if anybody's saying anything. I have to keep going back and forth to the chat box. Hi, Susan. Kelly. Hi, Kelly. I think I just got your email. So and thanks for reminding me, because at the end of the stay to the end, I want you to hear what I have to say, and then I'm going to address the beautiful questions that I got from everybody about what's their burning desire, what do they really want to know, and about their relationship. So I'm going to address that at the end because I want you to hear my take on it. All right, let me start this. I'll be back at the end without the slide presentation, but let me just get it started. Today, we're going to talk about the truth about why your marriage is falling apart. And it's like the real reason your relationship is out of sorts, what you're doing to keep it that way, and what you could do to completely turn things around. And that's basically the 3 secrets. I'm going to teach you, what ordinary things you're doing now to keep it out of sorts, and what you have to know and do first to turn it around. So that's where we're headed. I'm not a relationship coach, and I make that very clear. I'm not going to teach you how to have better communication or better sex with your partner. That's not what I do. And people who work with me, there is no guarantee how their relationship's going to work out. I can't promise he's going to change. I can't promise you're going to change. I can't promise the whole thing's going to change. So I know that you know that, and some people, though, have such a strong desire for things to work out. But that's not what I do. What I am going to teach you and show you is how having a better relationship with yourself is the key to a great relationship with your partner. Because if you aren't happy with you, you'll never be happy with another person. And I have lived this, learned it. I didn't take some coaches training and decide to coach people and help people with this. I lived this stuff, and I sought out the tools that I know work, that really do transformation. I spent a ton of money, and I tell my husband tens of thousands, but it's probably close to 6 figures by now. But I had to I'm a smart person, and I know you're a smart person. So it's not that we're stupid. It's just nobody teaches us how relationships are supposed to work. And that's what I want to teach you tonight. So if you really want change in your relationship, if you really want to be happier, if you want to feel more loved, more connected, stick around to the end, okay? At the end, I'm going to answer those questions. I have a special gift for you guys. And I'm going to also ask you to open your mind. And if I say something that triggers you, good. I'm not here to be a friend, although I'm very friendly. But I want to wake you up to possibilities, because you'll see in my story where I was so stuck in blaming him. You'll see. So I don't want to go into that now. But what I have learned in all this is that when I changed my life, everyone around me changed for the better. So what you'll get today is some insight into what's going on in your life, in your relationship, not just your relationship, but all of your relationships. And you won't get all your answers today because obviously 1 hour is not enough, but you should learn something about yourself and relationships that you didn't know. Does that sound good? All right. So I think if you're here, you're probably in the right place. Your relationship probably feels really bad right now, and you've tried lots of things that haven't worked. Some days you just wonder, is this really all there is to life? You get up, go to work, you do the mundane stuff, and that's it. You're tired of pretending everything's okay when it's not. You feel like you've got to keep that stiff upper lip and just hold it all together. You're ready to have a great relationship and feel loved and heard and understood and connected again. And you know it's possible. And then I really think most people have this little thing deep inside of them that says there's something here for you to learn about yourself. So tonight, I'm going to show how you have the power to change your relationship just by changing a few things that are totally in your control, right? I'm going to show you where you've been off track up until now. And I'm going to show you something that when I learned it, it's like, whoa, how all relationships really work. And this will enhance all of your relationships. So grab a pen and paper. And I want you just to reflect for just a minute on yourself and your relationship. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. You will all get a copy of the replay and you can go back and do this. It's not a big deal, but I want you to bring up right now where your unhappiness is, okay? So what have you tried to help in your relationships that hasn't worked? And you're not sharing this with anyone here, so don't worry about it. What have you tried that hasn't worked, and why hasn't it worked? Maybe you've tried therapy. We did. And yeah, he got better, but our relationship didn't change. We did ballroom dancing. We really did. And he hated it, but he went. But our relationship didn't change. So what did you try? What were you expecting, and why didn't it work? And then I'm going to go skip to number 5 because this is important, but not as important as getting to the training. What are you most dissatisfied with about your life? I want you to be brutally honest, because this is where a lot of people think they should be doing this and they should be doing that. But I want you to ask yourself, is everything I'm doing making me happy? What are you most dissatisfied with about your life? It could be in your relationship. It could be you don't like your job. It could be you have unruly in-laws. There's a lot of reasons you could be dissatisfied, and the relationship might just be a symptom. All right. Usually, when I see what people write in these things, people are so similar. We all experience very, very similar things. So there's probably a lot of overlap with everyone on this call of what's going on. I mean, maybe your partner's too possessive. Maybe he's in a depression. Maybe he's cheating. And I don't know what it is, but your dissatisfaction is there. And I'm going to tell you what that's about in a minute. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm Susan Kennedy. I'm a transformation coach for women. And I love the outdoors. I do retreats, and I love to be outdoors at retreats. I've been married to my husband for 31 years now, and we almost blew it. So I'm going to tell you that. My son's grown, has my grand dog, and I love to speak to women. I love when I find things that work. There's so many things out there that I found that don't work. When I find things that work, I have to speak about them. So that's what I do. And so this is who I am today, but it hadn't always been like this, okay? It hasn't always been like this. So I'll start my adulthood. When I changed jobs. I changed careers from social worker to systems engineer. Think about it. It's two entirely opposite spectrum ends of a career. Low pay, rewarding work, high pay, boring work. That's how it was to me. I moved from where I grew up to a whole new place. I was young, I was single, I was athletic. I made great money, had lots of opportunities, and I loved my life. It was a new adventure for me. And to be honest, I am kind of a free spirit, but I'm also an athlete. And I met my husband playing co-ed softball. We were both corporate employees, which was kind of rare for softball, but our whole team was that. And that's how we met, and we ended up getting married in 1988. And one day, all of a sudden, life changed. 5 years after we got married, I was 38 years old. I thought it's time to have children. We only have one child. I can't imagine women who have 2, 3, 4, and more children, what they go through when you hear my story. But I was a new mom at 38, and that was old at the time. I was a wife, a systems engineer, which I did not love, long commutes, which I did not love. It was stressful, and this never-ending to-do list. But you see, I'm not the only one. See him, he's a little tired too over there. And I love my son, don't get me wrong. And what happened after the first couple of years of doing this? I was a strong one, so I could do anything, right? 2 years in, I was starting to feel the anger and resentment. And it came in slowly over time. So it's like, whoa, why am I so angry? And I had no free time for what mattered most to me. My family mattered most, obviously. You take care of the important things, but we all have other things that are important to us. And I'll get to that in a moment. But it felt like my life wasn't working for me anymore. Like many women, so I was 38. I said, well, I'm old enough. It's my son's time. I'm going to quit my sports and I'll be fine. But due to my thinking, I assumed all these shoulds that moms, wives, a lot of employees should do. And I learned it naturally because my mom did this and she became angry and resentful. That's kind of funny how that works. But I remember going to a therapist one time and she said, you just need more time for yourself. And she was writing a prescription for antidepressants. And that triggered me badly because I knew I needed more time for myself. I just didn't know how to get it. And I don't do drugs, as I'm my age now and I don't take any medications because I went to a therapist because I wanted to change my life, not get on drugs, right? But let me tell you, I'm going to go back even further. At 5 years old, I found my father dead on the bathroom floor. And that was bad enough, but it was the look of horror on my mom's face when she came in that set me on a trajectory that shifted my life back at 5 years old, okay? I became the strong one because my mom was falling apart and I was the oldest child at the time and I'm the one who saw it. So as little kids, when stuff like that happens, we make up a story in our heads that runs our beliefs in our life. And over time, especially as I got older, I became responsible for her emotional happiness and her emotional needs. And I lived that way until I was in my 50s. So I'm older than that now. So remember this story though later because it's going to come up again. But I bet there's some strong ones on the call tonight. Being the strong one, being able to be there for everybody else, being able to handle everybody else's problems. Yeah, you do that. But what happens when you're doing that? Then you have to pretend your life is okay because you don't need anything. My mom was breaking down. A little kid saw it, and I said, "Okay, what I need doesn't matter. My goodness, I need someone to take care of me, and she's got to be the one." So I just pretended most of my life that I didn't need anything. And by all outward appearances, my life was great. It went along great, but then at some point, when I didn't have what I needed anywhere in my life, I felt like I was dying inside. You know, I could tell you what I didn't want, but at some point I lost all clue with what I did want. I didn't know what would it take for me to be happy and fulfilled. What would it take for me to feel like what I'm doing matters, you know? So that terribly affected my relationship. But at the time, I was unaware of that. You know, we'd argue and withdraw. We weren't big arguers. We butted heads and we just fled, you know. Silent treatment. I blamed him a lot. And honestly, I don't know what he thought. It just felt to me like he didn't understand me, that I wasn't that important to him, that I wasn't special to him. Over time, I didn't even feel like he loved me. But, you know, the strong one that we are, I justified all this away and said, well, you know, you have a kid, life gets tough and things start happening, and it's just the way it is. It's no big deal. Everybody goes through this, you know, and I also didn't know what I could do about it, you know. So it felt like my life wasn't working anymore. I didn't know what to do about it. I felt really alone and disconnected. And I'm going to check the chat box real quick to see if anybody else said anything. Candace, hi, and Arlene. Uh-oh, you can only see half the screen and can barely read what you have there because the chat box takes up. Arlene, are you on your phone or on a computer? Is anyone else having that problem? I'll come back. And, you know, honestly, Arlene, I'm saying the words, but sometimes when you see them, they go in even a little bit deeper. So I'm going to carry on, and I'll check back on the chat box in just a minute, okay? So anybody relate to feeling alone and disconnected in their marriage? Yeah, and all I really wanted, this is what I felt like, I just wanted to be happy. I just wanted to do something that mattered to me. And the other thing is, I thought if only he could make me feel loved, if only he could make me feel wanted and desired, then I'd be happy. And then over time, I really felt like I just wanted to be out of the relationship because I felt like it was stifling me. So, you know, really, if you think someone needs to make you feel loved, that's something we're going to talk about in a minute. But, you know, the other thing, there was a desire in me for more in the rest of my life too. Like I said, my work wasn't that satisfying, but it showed up in my relationship. So I'm going to talk about that too. So all this is going to come together in a minute, because at this point, I was in my early 50s. I was miserable. And you know what? I didn't think it could get much worse. And then it did. And then it did. So don't ever think it can't get any worse, ladies, because, man, after 22 years of marriage, discovering a huge betrayal by my husband, finding out we had over $100,000 in credit card debt. Imagine, it felt like my world came crashing down, you know. And when I dug into it and saw how long it had been going on, that secret spending of money and that lack of connection we'd had for a number of years, it explained everything. And it hurt like hell. It hurt like hell. So maybe you've had a betrayal or a breach of trust. Maybe it was an affair or secret gambling or porn or maybe strip clubs. Anything where one day you found out a whole bunch of stuff and your life changed. Your trust level went down. You realized you're in deep doo-doo and all the finances. He's like, whoa. So it's painful in a whole lot of ways. It's like you go from anger and rage to guilt and shame. You know, I didn't want to share it with anybody, but I didn't not want to share it with anybody. So anyway, but now I'm through it all. probably at least 10 years through it all. And I can honestly say that day was the worst day of my life, but it was also the best day of my life because this was a wake-up call for me, a wake-up call. For more than 40 years. I lived my life for everyone else, and I didn't even realize how unhappy that made me until this big wake-up call. I had lost myself so far that my life didn't make sense anymore. And like I said before, it certainly wasn't working for me. It was the angriest I'd ever been. 52, I was getting ready to change careers. I was getting ready to start my own business, and then this comes up. So what happens when everything changes? You get caught in this indecision, this chaotic emotional state, right? So I thought, well, I could get divorced. You know, he deserves it. And then I thought, then what will I do? Where will I go? I mean, I'm from Virginia, and I didn't, all this stuff came up. You kind of know the things. I talked with 3 divorce attorneys, and something in me just says, just wait. But the thing is, we were so much in debt, I couldn't afford to move out because I wasn't working at the time after 20 years in corporate. So we stayed in the house. We used separate bedrooms, and yeah, it bought me some time. So really, I had 2 decisions to make. The first one, stay or go. But the other one, and this is a really important decision that you may be faced with right now. I mean, you can go ahead with divorce and hope for the best, but if you don't do some of the inner work, chances are you're going to end up in a similar situation again. Or you can stay put for a while you figure out what you want, you know, and that's what I did because, like I said, I did not know. Okay, this happened before. I apologize. I don't know what's going on with this webinar, Jam. I don't know what you missed, but no matter what you are going to decide, you need to know who you are and what you want first. You know, when you're in a chaotic emotional state, it's not the time to make decisions. Let me, I'm going to look at the chat box and see. Arlene's on the phone. That might be why I have never done this with the phone. Hey, Jana, how are you tonight? Thanks for joining, everybody. All right, so I just decided to stay for a while because I could. You know, don't stay in a situation where you're in danger. But I just thought I need to know what I want. So one day, in this mindset of I need to know what I want to do next, I saw a workshop by a woman that I absolutely adore, Carolyn Mace, M-Y-S-S. Anybody been to any of her workshops? Anyway, and it was at a place that I've wanted to go. So I made the arrangements and I spent a week at this place. I'm going to see if I got a picture of it. I think I do. Yes. This was my workshop getaway. It's a beautiful place. It's in the desert. And the workshop, she said something that really triggered me. And that's why I say, if I'm triggering you, it's a good thing. Don't run away, okay? She really triggered me when she said this, but it was the thing I needed to hear at the time to shift my thinking from blaming my husband to, well, maybe there's just something I could have done differently. And here's what she said. Nobody can betray you but yourself. I'm in the second row, the third seat from the middle. And I remember her saying that. And I was just fuming. I paid money, good money to be here. And she's telling me this. You know, here's what I mean, like really? I mean, this is how right I thought I was, people. So I just want you to understand this. What do you mean? I didn't do anything wrong. He did. Okay. And I don't know if you can relate to that, but this is where my mindset was. I felt like I was on a high horse because I was good and he was bad, you know. But this was what I needed to hear. And the funny thing is, I went back to my room that night. Oh my gosh. I went back to my room and I journaled all the ways I had betrayed myself over all those years. Think about it. All the time you're pretending not to need anything and you do. Think about it. All the time you're pleasing other people before you please yourself. So much pain came up in the form of sobs. I mean, literal sobs. It was, I mean, I can't even describe it, but it was a great thing. It was a good thing because a lot of pain came out, a lot of release. You know, all the times that I sat there and I wanted to cry, but I couldn't, it started coming out. All those years of betraying myself, pretending like I didn't matter, what I wanted didn't matter. It all came up. And all the betrayal really stemmed from that belief I had at 5 years old that I didn't matter. What I wanted didn't matter. And I finally had uncovered the truth here. This is just step one, right? And yeah, I realized soon after this that my whole problem of being unhappy was that I spent my whole life trying to make other people happy and ignoring my own needs and wondering why I was miserable, why I couldn't be happy. And I was blaming everyone else for my unhappiness, not seeing how I had the key to that all along. But, you know, that's just one step. That was a huge step, though. And so now I'm at this beautiful place, and I had like 5 more days, and I wasn't looking at what's wrong with him or our relationship, but I was looking at what do I need to do to be happy and know what I want. Is this making sense to everybody? Okay. So this was just a new awareness. And this new awareness created a shift. Okay. And it changed my path to looking in a different way. And change doesn't happen overnight. You get a shift and something changes, and then you keep going. But certainly it wasn't simple to change everything in our relationship because the patterns that created the mess we were bound together in were ingrained in me. And he probably had some patterns too, but I can't change him. I tried. So I went on this quest to find me again. And this quest led me to tools and mentors, new ways to change my thinking, to change how I saw things, to change how I saw the world. You know, like I said, I have invested more money than I care to say on me. But when I found the tools that worked, I actually went and got certified and trained in them. But the self-betraying behaviors that I was doing, the complaining, the living my life for the expectations of other people, even though my mind was saying they expected it, you know, think about that. It wasn't going to work anymore. It's like you get the awareness and you can't go back. So I just kept taking one step after the other. And I've had, if you can see behind me at my bookshelf and all my certifications, I've had so many certifications, but the main tools that I've incorporated with the work I do with my clients, these tools actually shift perceptions. They balance out the brain hemispheres. I don't know if you know anything about that. You may, but they're very transformative. And what I found when I went to therapy, I would feel better for a little bit, but nothing changed. But transformation, the work I do gives you a new experience in your life of who you are. So the good thing, the beautiful thing is, as I changed, the people around me changed too. My husband changed. I was amazed. And I had done so much work on me already. That's the funny part. But yeah, my husband and I could talk, and I actually felt loved. I felt heard. I felt understood. I was happier in myself, and I knew what I wanted now, and I was headed down that path. I finally started acknowledging my own needs and my longings and my dreams, you know, and it's like the one thing I learned, and I'm going to teach it, one of the secrets, was once I realized what my unique top priorities in my life were, I saw how I'd been denying them because I was working a job I thought I should, making money I thought I should. Um, and I'm going to tell you how that affected me too. But here's the truth. You don't have to wait for a wake-up call like I did. But I had plenty of advance warning. It's like I wasn't listening. My anger and my resentment, when I started feeling that discontentment in my relationship and that disconnection, they were all symptoms, okay? They were just signs, though, of the needs I had shoved down, of my own desires that I wasn't honoring. And I wasn't living in my unique top priorities, which is what gives you your meaning in life. So you can wait for a wake-up call, but I don't recommend it. It's not fun. But you know what? Human beings are also so resistant to change. And apparently I was. And these are things I was thinking. It's too late for me to start over. I'm 52. We tried everything. What else is there? He's the one with the problem. I was so sure of that. And then relationships are just too hard. I thought if I get divorced, I am never married again. I thought all these things. But you know what? If you're thinking that yourself, I can just tell you you're wrong. When I changed, when I shifted who I was and when I became who I really was, my life opened up to me in so many ways. I told you I'm an outdoors girl. I finally allowed myself to get my outdoor car. Now my husband and I go on vacations outdoors. I mean, when we choose to, but life is fun again. And yeah, people ask me, how could I be okay with this man who betrayed me all those years ago? I just said, you know what? I changed. He changed. I raised my standards. I set some boundaries, and we're the best we've ever been together. Yeah, and when I calmed down all that emotional turmoil, so much more opened up to me, opportunities, just knowing what I wanted and being able to receive. I had more choices in my life. So this is what I love. I don't know what you love. I don't know what you love. So I'm showing you this because if I can do it, you can do it too. But your pictures would look different if you were doing this. And the other thing is, at the time when I made my decision to not go back to corporate again and to do the work I meant to do, we were over $100,000 in credit card debt. And because I knew my top priorities in my life, I could make decisions differently with confidence, right? I decided to honor that path now with confidence. And I started that path in 1997, and I kept going back to, I need to earn money. I need to get a job. Well, but little did I know, it was so important for me to have that little detour where I got that little wake-up call, because then I can work with women at a much deeper level. So I've healed a ton of things from my past over the years, and I've shifted a lot of the beliefs that I've had and things, but it takes two in a relationship to create a mess, but one person with faulty beliefs can really do a number on it. And yeah, when your relationship's off track, the first person to look at is you, right? But anyway, since then I've come up with my own system of coaching that applies to what I was experiencing and what I needed. And I'm finding more and more women are saying this, I just need to find myself again. I've lost myself in this relationship. And I have not found that in any one place. And so the truth is, I don't have any anger or hurt or shame come up when I think about what my husband did. He doesn't like me to announce it very much, but I am very open in my one-on-one clients and talking about it, because we don't ever experience anything different, really. It's all the same. But I just don't want to publicly air it out. But yeah, and the truth is, I have profound gratitude for what happened, because I would not have changed otherwise. And I would have stayed miserable. I reclaimed my life. So it's like I came alive again. Yeah. And I learned to speak up. I was speaking up, but it was an angry tone. And it was sarcasm, anger, and you could hear the resentment in there. People, well, I won't go there. I learned to ask for what I want. And I'm still not that good at it. My husband tells me, no, just ask me directly. So I'm learning that. I learned to allow another person their feelings, their anger, and be okay with that. It's not my anger. I talk about my desires. What do I really want? I learned to focus on me and what I want and not all the things out there. And this is the biggest thing that gave me the most energy. I learned to let go of problems and responsibilities that aren't mine. I was out there looking for things to fix, for other people because I could. So I learned a lot more, but how to be truly happy and free is what it boils down to. After years of holding on to, geez, there must be something wrong with me. There's an internal belief, but then there's an external belief. And they can be opposite of each other, but I felt like he wasn't attracted to me after a while. I must be doing something wrong. This is just the way my life is. And that's not true. That is just not true. So no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're experiencing or thinking now, there is more possible for you in your relationship and your life. And I forgave my husband. I forgave myself, and I was free. So here we go. We're going to go on with the 3 secrets that I've been promising you for the last 35 minutes. Secret number 1 I'm going to talk about. Well, these 3 secrets allowed me to change my life from being dissatisfied, angry, resentful, sometimes wanting to just lay on the bathroom floor, curled up crying, and wondering if this is all there is, to what I've shared with you about my life today. Shifting it to honor myself and what I want and what matters most to me. And this is the thing that changed my relationship with my husband. Okay. This is what allowed me to be married for 31 years instead of 22. And I now know to my core that he loves me, he sees me, he hears me. So that's not even in question. And yes, he's the same man who betrayed me 12 years ago. So the first secret, the real reason your relationship is out of sorts. I'm going to ask you, why did you get married? Or why are you in this relationship if you're not married? Why did you get married? Why do most people get married? Most people will say, well, we were in love. But some people get married for other reasons. Some people get arranged marriages. But when you think about it, a great relationship just doesn't come out of the blue. And love is a good feeling. There's a chemical attraction, a physical attraction, and then there's a thing called love. And the combination of the two is great. They're both great, so don't get me wrong, but that feeling of love isn't realistic to maintain as life starts to happen, right? We've got a lot of beliefs running around. Our faulty beliefs from childhood run into their faulty beliefs from childhood, and how we react and respond is how we react and respond. But you get married, you have a good time for a while, and then what happens? Life happens. The demands of life happen. And I don't know how many kids you guys have. Like I said, I have 1, but it was the commute. It was the career I didn't enjoy. I did not enjoy being a PTA and errands and on and on and on. Life happens. Many women are givers. We're overgivers, actually, to the point of exhaustion and often depletion. And we give and give and give, and we never need anything. But that's not true. We know that because we all need some support at some time. But when we get pulled by everything like work and homework and our friends and everything, it's almost like we're on call for everybody, for everything. And we just shove our needs and our dreams and our desires on the back burner until what? Until the kids finish school, till the kids grow up, till you have more money, till you lose the 20 pounds, till you have more time. Whatever we put it on the back burner for, the more we do that, one day we're going to wake up and find ourselves feeling lost. Feeling a little bit lost, a little unfulfilled, a little sad, a little bit unloved. And then we wonder, how did we get here? But the truth is, we haven't taken time to really know ourselves. You think you're yourself, and you go through all this, and you really, you are yourself, but you change. So you haven't taken time to know and I'm going to say grow yourself for years into what do you long for? What do you need? What do you prefer? We get disconnected from ourselves when we get on autopilot for everything else. So here's the truth about relationships I want to share with you. Think about the parents you were born to. Think about your mom and dad. Now think about your good friends. Now bring your mind to your main relationship in your life that's causing you pain. Okay, and it may not be causing you pain, and I honestly hope it's not, but if it is, just think about that. Every relationship in your life, your kids, your parents, your friends, your partner, is there to support you, and it's there to challenge you. There's an equal balance. It should be, as you play through life, you get a little more support sometimes, and sometimes a little more challenge. That's how it goes. And when I say challenge you, I think of the word grow. It's there to support you and grow you. And when you've been supporting everyone else and not allowing yourself to grow into what matters to you, this is how you get off track. Yeah, you're doing important stuff. It's your kids, your family. That's great. But eventually you get in the automatic mode of doing things you thought you should, you assumed you should. And so then these feelings that come up, this disconnection, this dissatisfaction, the discontent, they're speaking to you. They're trying to get your attention. You remember, I wasn't paying attention to that. I heard it, it's miserable, but I didn't think of it in these terms. So I didn't think, wow, maybe there's something I need to learn to do here, right? And because you're not hearing them, because in truth, all of your focus is out there. It's out there, but you feel the feelings in here. So you got this body that has these feelings of dissatisfaction, disconnection, but you're running around out there doing everything else for everybody. So when your relationship gets off track, it's there to challenge you. It's there to wake you up to grow. And I think that's where they get the wake-up call, because a lot of people get wake-up calls and don't grow. And then they get another one and another one. Okay. So wake-up call. Yes. To living your unique priorities in life. It's almost like your purpose, but it's slightly different. So let's think about this. I'll take me for an example. If you've been betrayed by someone, the challenge for you might be to see how you're betraying yourself, just like I did. And all that truth came out. Releasing that truth was huge for me. Okay. If someone's cheating on you, and yeah, that's a betrayal, but people describe it differently. If someone's cheating on you, your challenge may be, and I don't know what it is, but your challenge may be to learn to raise your standards, that you won't accept that, and or to set boundaries, which you probably haven't done before. So that's just two little examples. I could give you a ton more, but it might seem, I have people telling me all the time what people do to them. It might seem like these painful things happen to us, but at the soul level, they happen for us to show us where we need to focus our growth and our evolution. Okay, it's like, you probably heard this, if you're not growing, you're dying. This is an opportunity to grow into more of who you are. Yeah, it's not like you don't need fixing. You don't need to find yourself. You really need to reveal yourself. And this is the inner work designed to grow you as a person. And I'm sure we all know somebody who's had a messy breakup or divorce, and one or both parties will run out and repeat, rinse and repeat really quickly. And it happens again and again. And it will happen until you face where you need to grow and you grow. So if you're feeling this way in this relationship without changing you, over time, you'll feel this way again. And that's just like the law of vibration. You attract to you what you are. You don't attract what you want, you know? So that's the first secret, the truth about relationships. So relationships have a different meaning, I hope, for you now. Secret number 2, what do you need to do or know first to move yourself forward confidently? Let me take a sip of water here. It was 1999. I was speaking with a coach. Her name was Judy. And she said, Susan, what do you want? It hit me. Like, I don't know what I want, Judy. I don't know. But here's what I don't want. I knew exactly what I didn't want. Yeah, I didn't want this long commute. And I didn't want the corporate politics and all. So maybe you're in that place. But let me tell you this. And nobody told me this. I had to figure this out too. You are a living being who was gifted with lots of, well, you were gifted with this thing called life, first of all. That's the biggest gift of all. But you were also gifted with many things at your birth, right? You were given a purpose. You were given unique desires. You were given, and I can't find a better word for this, but your unique highest priorities in your life. It's what matters most to you in your unique way of it mattering to you. That's what they are. And you were given this quirky personality. I'm sure we're all quirky, right? And you were given, you know, the propensity for lots of skills and talents. Some you develop, some you don't. And you got a body, and everybody's body is perfect for what they need to do in this lifetime, okay? So think about your unique highest priorities for your life, okay? So a kid gets to be 5 or 6 years old and they play like an astronaut and they want to go to the moon. Well, I didn't play like that. You know, I saw that when I was little, but that wasn't me. And that kid eventually does space travel or does something in the space industry. Not everybody wants to do that. So that's a unique thing to that person. Not everybody wants to be a teacher or a healer or a preacher or a business person. As a matter of fact, not everybody's highest priorities in life are to be a mom. You know, I told you that was not my highest priority. It was a responsibility I took on very responsibly. But think of Rose Kennedy, the Kennedy brothers' mom. Her highest priority in life was to raise a family of leaders. That's a mom who had a vision for her family. So we all have unique highest priorities in our life. You know, and so what do you need to know or do first? You need to know what these unique highest priorities are, because it will help you see you have to know who you are and what's most important to you. And that's what the unique highest priorities do. They reveal what your life is saying is most important. And even when I did mine years ago, I was like, wow, I've been living this way and I've just been pushing that to the side. Okay, so you need to know who you are and what's most important to you. And I'm not talking about the roles you're playing. I'm not talking about, you know, what you have to do in your life. I'm talking about who you are to your core and what you really want. It's not what your partner wants for you. It's not what your parents thought you should be. It's not what will bring you the most money. It's what's at the core of your being to be. And I tell you, I have a great tool that I use with all my clients, and it's the first thing we do when we work together because it's so revealing to them and for me to get to know them better. So what happens when you know who you are and what you want? it's easier to make decisions on a moment-by-moment basis. Remember, but when I was contemplating divorce or not, and I didn't know what I wanted, I was stuck in indecision because I didn't know who I was at the moment, and I didn't know what was most important to me. And I'm so glad that I didn't rush into divorce, right? So I always say, write this down. Clarity is power. When you're crystal clear, it's just amazing the confidence that comes with this clarity of knowing who you are and what you want. So that's secret number 2. And if you have questions, put them up. I figured a way to keep the chat box open. So secret number 3, what ordinary things are you doing to keep your relationship out of sorts? Like I said earlier, many women are givers by nature. And a lot of us are taught that. Growing up, it's better to give than receive, you know? And overgiving is a pattern. It's a habit. And not only does it deplete our energy and our well, I guess energy is the best thing to say, it keeps our focus off of us and what we really want. So there's warning signs when you're doing this, when you're not living in your highest unique priorities. And these warning signs that you're off track, and you'll see that I had a lot of these warning signs, okay? Anger, blame, criticism, despair, resentment, depression, anxiety, disconnection. There's just a lot of signs when you're not living what's most important to you, okay? And these emotions, these feelings, emotions, which depends on how they show up, they push people from us. They create the disconnection. It's not the people, it's these feelings create the disconnection. So it might seem like you're lashing out at your partner, but you're really upset with yourself. And you just can't see it though. So anytime you think, I should do this, I have to do this, you're living outside of your top priorities. And yes, I get it. There are some things we have to do. That's life. But as a rule, if that's running you, you're going to experience some of these things. For example, if you're working in a job that's not fulfilling, over time you're going to resent the time you spend at work. You know, if you're in a relationship and you're taking on the things you think you should, sooner or later you will resent the relationship, especially when you don't have other avenues to pursue what matters most to you. And I did this for years. This is how I know this so clearly. Running around doing everything I thought I should. Can anybody see themselves in this? People pleasing other people before we please ourselves takes us further and further from our true self. You know, I read an article that said the number 1 cause of conflict in relationships. Guess what that was? People pleasing. Niceness. Biting your tongue. Okay, so in order to change these behaviors, we have to identify what it is we want, what's most important to us. Because if we don't know that, then it's so much easier for other people to put their own expectations on us, okay? And then we have to find the underlying beliefs that have been, that created those patterns. Like for me, it was being the strong one, caused me doing so much for others and to not take care of my needs, right? But it was just a coping mechanism I adopted as a scared 5-year-old little girl, which led to my beliefs that my needs didn't matter, that what I wanted didn't matter. And this did not serve me as an adult in a relationship. Can you see that? Yeah. So, and also, and I have people argue with me on this, but always giving and not allowing yourself to receive is actually selfish. Think about giving brings you so much joy. So not allowing others the joy of giving to you by receiving is very selfish. Plus, you can't live a life you love and have the relationship that you really want doing these behaviors. So let's just go on. Most people think this is just the way they are, but these long-standing patterns can be changed, and it's key to change these patterns to get different results in your relationship and your life. So you can try to change your behavior, just like New Year's resolutions. It usually doesn't work, because if your underlying beliefs and thoughts don't match the behavior, it won't stay, it won't stick. So to get new results, like a great relationship, it starts also up here in your head with your thoughts and your beliefs. You know, it's about making the internal shifts which magically change your outer results. Just like my husband, I changed, and then he just magically changed. So happiness, true happiness, it's just a state of being. It's a vibration of you being in complete harmony with who you really are. Does that make sense? All right, so that's the 3 secrets, but I would usually recap them here, but I just want to say, really the bottom line of the 3 secrets is how when you're not being you won't be happy. And your happiness is what is affecting your happiness, or lack of happiness can be affecting your relationship. And when you're not happy, for people who show up to this, their unhappiness is showing up in the form of their relationship, kind of as a symptom, right? Because I've learned that an empowered man, the empowered masculine energy, wants his partner to be happy. So when you know yourself to your core, when you know to the core of you who you are, what it is you really want, when you love yourself and allow yourself to show up as that beautiful being, that's where your happiness is. And that beautiful being is what God created. God creates things and then we go make a mess of it. But it's the real you that God created. That's where your happiness is. And that's where you will find yourself again, so that you can have the relationship that you really want and deserve. Any questions on the 3 secrets? This will be wrapping up in a little bit, but stay around to the end, especially if you submitted a question. I'm going to go through them, and I have a free gift too. I just keep this open. All right. Yeah, I know people who go through life thinking, it's just the way I am, just the way my life is. It doesn't have to be that way. It's not true. Well, it is true if you don't mind it being that way, it can be true for you, but it doesn't have to be that way. Anyone can create a different outcome no matter where they are today, but it takes some open-mindedness. It takes some willingness. It takes new awareness. Sometimes it takes some support to see where they're off, but it's possible. You know, you could enjoy your life with your other half again, or you could do what you love most with or without him. We don't do a lot of things together because we have different interests. I was stuck on us having to do things together before, and I know who I am now, and I know what lights me up, so I go do what I want to do, and he's fine with that, and we can have fun together. So again, I'm showing you what's possible. Your life will look different. But I have 2 questions for you. Are you ready to free yourself from the emotional turmoil that you've been living in? Are you ready to shift your relationship with yourself, which will then change everything? Yeah. And I say this, and I say it very seriously. If I can change my life and relationship over 50 from what I was living to what I have now, I know it's possible for you too. And I was over 50. You can teach an old dog new tricks, okay? And 50 is not old, by the way. But I have a free gift, but I'm gonna share something that I'm really excited about, and I'm not selling anything tonight. But if you want this for you too, it's time for a breakthrough. And that's actually that's the first program I ever went to. It was a breakthrough, but it's time for a breakthrough. Okay. And like I said, this program isn't for sale for you tonight, but I want to share it because I'm excited. It's I call it a brand new program, but it's been part of my 4-month coaching package. And I realized that so many women just need these 4 steps to get moving, to get out of stuck in all the emotional turmoil and moving forward where it feels better. You know, so if your life and relationship don't feel like it's working, if everything feels emotionally draining and exhausting, this is when this would be really good. But the truth is, until you make the inner shifts, none of that stuff is going to change. So there's 4 specific steps that create changes. And the first one, we talked a lot about knowing who you are and what you want, because this will help you. This is step 1 to learning how to live your life for yourself, so you stop living for everyone else. And it can show you how to do it without feeling guilty. That's a lot of women. I feel guilty. So, and number 2, learn how your pain, your longing are the openings, the portal to what you want most. Free yourself from the pain, the emotional pain, so you can move forward in the right direction. And that's the right direction for you. I don't know what your direction is, but I can pull it out of you, right? Clear the path to move forward with confidence. So this is what a VIP breakthrough intensive consists of. And once I realized how crucial these 4 steps are to every relationship and to having a life you love, I started sharing it in my group. If you haven't joined my Facebook group, Reignite Your Life, I invite all of you on this call to do that. I share a lot of things, and we got some free trainings in there and a lot of things that you can think about to kind of help shift your perspective. But so anyway, I just want to share. Here, let me one more thing. Sorry, my brain's going faster than my mouth. This is the Breakthrough Intensive. 4 private coaching sessions, virtual, with me, 60 to 90 minutes. I don't ever stop anyone when we're getting ready to get a breakthrough point. It's not like therapy. Oops, our time is up. So that's huge. A private Facebook group for people who go through this, because they will be doing this work. And then email access to me with your questions over the course of the month. That's what the intensive consists of. And I'll tell you, I help women every day turn this around. So if you're interested in changing your relationship and yourself and not repeating those patterns of thinking, believing, and actions that got you where you are today, if you really are ready to figure out what you need to do to be happy, what you really want, and to move out this fear and indecision, then this may be something you'll consider down the road. And you'll see, if you get in my group, you'll see it all the time. I put it up there with several posts a week. But I'm inviting you tonight, you who showed up on this call and spent we're a little over an hour with me. I so appreciate that you took time out of your day, your busy life to do that. And I'm gifting everyone who wants one, who resonate with this information. Now, I can't save your marriage if it's something else, but if you resonated with this, let's just talk. A 30-minute session with me, private session with me. And I'm going to put the link up in just a minute. As soon as I take the PowerPoint down, I'll put the link up there so you can discuss the possibilities for you. And, you know, if you're going, oh, yes, I want that, or if you're feeling a little nervous about it, but a little excitement too, then it's probably right for you. And let me ask you this. If all this did was give you the clarity you needed and calmed the emotional turmoil so you could move forward with peace and confidence, what would that mean to you right now? What would that mean? You know, if you want that kind of thing, let's talk. You deserve to have a relationship that lights you up. We all do. You deserve to feel loved and heard and understood and desired. You deserve to have a life you love, not one where you're pretending everything's okay when it's not. Not one where you're pretending to be, not pretending, not one where you're playing the good mom and the good wife, and there for everybody else's needs. Your needs matter, your desires matter. You deserve to have and honor your own dreams and desires and to be happy. And above all, you deserve to be confident in yourself and your relationship moving forward. So, working with me, we dive into what can turn the ship around for you and get on the path to a great life and relationship. And let me just share a couple of what clients have said. Dissolve multiple limiting beliefs and fears that were holding me back. Created shifts in perceptions, opened my heart, moved through emotional blocks. Emotional blocks, most people aren't even aware they have them. Okay, allowed me to create new thoughts about my situation. My understanding softened my heart and restored a sense of empowerment. I was able to forgive and move forward. You can read that. Why I remain stuck with feelings that are no longer useful and only hurt? And then my favorite one, just do it. Just do it. Okay. So here's what I know. The work we would do together if we ever worked together is what changed my life. It's also what changed my family's life. So right now I'm about to shut down this PowerPoint here and put up the link. So if this resonates with you, I'm going to put up the link. Let's see. I'm going to put up the link for the, there we go. All right, I'm going to put that up. I'm going to end the PowerPoint. There we go. Okay, so the link is up right now. If you want one of these sessions, 30 minutes, free, talk over whatever is on your mind with me, grab one. Grab one. And I'm going to read, made a list of all the questions people asked. If you remember, on one of my emails, I asked you what was your burning question or thing you wanted to know from this call. So here's one, and I don't have any names, so don't worry. For the most part, I understand the reasons for my marriage failing, but what I don't understand is how to fix it when my husband and I have a hard time having a conversation about little things without him shutting me down and picking a fight. When I try to discuss our relationship, he immediately starts yelling, storms out the door, avoids contact for days and weeks. It's a complicated situation for sure. Yeah. You know what I found, and I'm not a relationship coach, but I found that men don't like to talk about their relationship. They don't like to talk about their feelings because, golly, I really thought we need to talk about this. And it's almost like I think most men would rather have a root canal without anesthesia or a Novocaine or whatever they shoot in your mouth than to talk about this. So talking about it with a man isn't the right thing. But here's what I learned to be true for me. When I changed and knew who I was, what made me happy, and started going for it, I did not need that whatever I was trying to get from him, that feeling of being loved, that feeling of whatever, I could give it to myself. And it's a process over time, but you can get there. And when you start it's almost like, I think men hear it this way. When we're saying we need to talk, it's like a complaint. And we're not happy, and they want us to be happy, but we're the only person who can make us happy. And so they feel like a failure when this happens. I think this is what goes on. This is what I've talked with my husband about. And she said, thanks for doing what you do. You're welcome. And I'm happy to do it. So then the next question is, why do we keep fighting about the same things? And I want to say the same thing I just said. if you know who you are and you do what lights you up and makes you happy, you'll find different things to fight about, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you're fighting about. I don't know your situation, but my husband and I don't fight anymore. And it wasn't because we talked about it. It was because I changed and I started living my life for me. And if any of you are the people who wrote these in and you have further questions, you can type it in the chat and I will try to answer further. A lot of it's not enough information, but here's one. Unforgiveness and pride are the root reasons my marriage is falling apart. Conflict avoidance has been the reason we've lasted this long, 25 years. I've been the heavy lifter, meaning I'm the strong one who always starts the communication and does the work toward reconciliation, any fight or disagreement. But I'm tired, I'm depleted, and I need for him to take ownership and leadership. It feels one way. How do I navigate forward? Listen to this, to the replay of this, and open your mind again. Not again, but I mean, open your mind to it. And what I just said to the other two who wrote in, when you're living your life for you, you don't need so much from another person. And I don't know why you're fighting. So, well, unforgiveness and pride, conflict avoidance. That's tough. I mean, there are times to talk about conflict, and not let it go. Join us and reignite your life. And we can start a discussion in the group because I'm sure this will help a lot of people. Conflict avoidance is huge. It's sort of like people pleasing, trying to control outcomes, afraid of the emotional stuff. So you being tired and depleted, start focusing on you and what you want and what will make you happy and see where it goes. Why doesn't he want to talk to me when he's upset? He just walks out. Think about it. When I'm upset, I really don't want to talk to anybody. Let me get over my upset, and then maybe I'll talk about it. I don't know, if that's with your partner or not. And I think there's some men who are just afraid of their own anger, and they can't be talking when they're in an emotional charge. And you remember I said, don't make huge decisions when you're all in the emotional chaos, because you won't make a good decision. You'll regret it. And maybe he doesn't want to talk because he doesn't want to say something he'll regret. I don't know. In that case, is it me? Am I overreacting and not accepting of our differences? My husband and I are polar opposites. And for a long time, I didn't appreciate it. So think about it. A lot of things you don't like to do, he'll do. I mean, that's silly, but it's true. And a lot of things you like to do, he won't do. But just because you're married doesn't mean you have to be joined at the hip and do everything together. And I learn a lot from my husband now. Before, I was too, I was like know-it-all. I felt like a know-it-all. So before, but now I learn a lot from my husband, and he actually learns a lot from me. So it's good when you have someone who are different. And I don't know what the differences are you're speaking of, so I can only say that. What am I doing or saying wrong? You know what? Honestly, the truth is we never do anything wrong or say anything wrong. I'm sure you have good intentions, but listen to the replay again and take into consideration some things I've said and how I answered the other questions. Disconnected, emotionless, depressed husband. I've talked to several people this week about that. And you can lead him to help. You can ask him to get help, but he's got to take the initiative and go do it. All you can do is all you can do. And it's time to look inside you for what you want and do your thing. Be kind and considerate, but you have to know who you are and what you want and be going for it. And I know it sounds like you would be supportive, but I don't know your situation. But join us, our group. How to Save My Marriage. I honestly don't know. If you listen to this and it resonated, maybe there's some things in there you can find to do. And how can I save my marriage and keep my heart, which is my husband? I don't know. I can't answer those questions, but I know that this is what saved my marriage. I love my husband and want us to have a happy, united, successful marriage till death do us part. Well, good. I hope you do. I hope you do. I hope you learn something here that will help with that. And then here's one. He lies and is dishonest and has no thought of anyone but himself. And I'm like, that didn't just happen overnight. So it's time to look inside you. What part of you thinks that you deserve that? What part of you think that's the best you deserve? Okay. And then the last one that I have, I've been divorced 2 years now after many years of arguing and conflict. Now I look back and think we could have changed those patterns and stayed together. So I'm wondering if the damage can be repaired and we can try again. Yeah, I feel like dear Abby now. It takes two people in a relationship, right? I don't know his heart, what he wants, but certainly if you've learned and grown and gotten some insight and you are doing things, if you are being different in the world than you were in the relationship, I mean, if it takes two, but if he's willing, I don't see why it couldn't work. That's my short answer. So anyway, all right. Okay, I'm gonna sign off. I think everyone's had time to book a session if they want one, and you'll get a link in the replay as well. But I know it takes a lot to sit here for now an hour and 15 minutes on a webinar, and I hope you found something that you can use. I hope you've gotten some insight that can shift your thinking, even what you're doing. I hope you join us and reignite your life. And I hope to meet many of you on breakthrough sessions in the coming week. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much again. All my love, and signing off.